Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sid, and in today's video I am going to be expanding my female guinea pig enclosure. That right there is the door to my female guinea pig enclosure, and this right here is a carport. I will give you a closer look at everything very shortly, but just quickly I want to tell y'all my plan for the expansion. So I am going to enclose this carport and allow the guinea pigs to go to and from it. I should have just done that when I first decided to build a female guinea pig enclosure, but at the time I didn't quite realize that my whole life would become about guinea pigs. And at the time I was still expecting to use this carport, but I haven't used it in probably over a year at this point. Currently I just use it as a cover to put some of my guinea pigs things under, and the main reason that I am deciding to do this expansion is so that the guinea pigs can have an actual roof over their head, because I am going to take you into the enclosure now and show you how they live. So this is the entrance to the female guinea pig enclosure, and also it's not just females living in there, there is also 8 neutered males, and they all live a very happy life in there, make no mistake, but there is always room for improvement. So come inside, and probably the first thing you can tell is the roof. Basically the roof is just a tarp. This does the trick, and it has been doing the trick since I think September 2022. You know, I just think it's time for something a little more solid. So these are the homes for all my guinea pigs. So I've already gotten some materials and stuff to expand the enclosure, and just down there are some wooden beams, and just over there is some bags of concrete. But yeah, let's get started, and hopefully everything will run smoothly. Okay, so I'm first going to do up some rough measurements with a tape measure, because I quickly realized that the ground is very solid in this area. So what I want to do first is just wet the ground in the place where I'm going to dig the holes to put the poles into. So I'm just going to work out roughly where I'm going to place the poles, and then wet the ground in that area, and then let it soak for about a day, and then return to dig the holes a day later. Right now I'm just doing the rough measurements because I have to jump on my computer and learn how to do the Pythagoras theorem again, so I can get exactly straight poles and a straight structure. I've forgotten it from high school, and I've also forgotten it from the last time that I used it to build this enclosure, so I need to go relearn that so I can make sure everything is straight. But I feel like it shouldn't be too far off what I have worked out right now. Like, it looks straight, so it should be fine, but I want to make sure that it is exactly straight, so everything comes together nicely. Okay, so I've relearned how to do the Pythagoras theorem, also known as the 3, 4, 5 method, to ensure that all of the poles and beams are straight. I'm not even sure if I'm doing this correctly, but I'm just going to do it how it made sense to me. So this part of the enclosure, this pole just here, is where I'm going to start expanding the enclosure out to. So that is going to be my starting point. Okay, so to get a straight line, I have to measure 3 feet from this point here out to wherever 3 foot goes to. Okay, so that's 3 feet. Okay, so now I'm going to put a marker at the 3 foot point. And that's why this is called the 3, 4, 5 method, because I'm going to do 3 foot in that direction and then 4 foot in this direction. So now from the same point that I measured the 3 foot mark from, I'm going to do 4 foot from there up to here. So this is 4 foot on the tape measure, and now I'm just going to put a marker in at the 4 foot mark. Ooh. And if that doesn't look very straight, that is fine, because the next step will make everything straight. So this is where the 5 comes into the 3, 4, 5 method, because from the 3 foot point that I marked over there and the 4 foot mark here, there should be exactly 5 feet. And if there is, then a straight line can be created off this point, but if there is not, then I need to move some things around to make sure there is. So I think I got it pretty much exactly right on the first go, because that comes to 5 feet. So that is how I essentially make a straight line now, because now the string that I run off of here, that should continue to be straight. So yeah, hopefully I did that right. Okay, so I'm fairly certain that looks straight now, that line. So now I can dig holes for the poles along that line. And I'm gonna dig this hole 30 centimeters down. I'm pretty sure. So even after all of this rain, the ground is still rock solid. So I'm going to tip some water into the hole that I have already halfway dug, and then I'm going to get started on the next hole. And then when it gets hard for that hole, I am going to come back to this hole, and hopefully the water has soaked into the ground and softened the dirt a little bit, so it makes it a little easier to dig into.
Are you going to use them for further TikTok?
Yeah,
I had it around the corner with the dirt.
You know,
Isn't that's nice?
So you like the pattern?
That's unusual.
Like that, yeah.
I'm going to put these at Andrew's. Toothbrush, cotton tips, dental floss, toothbrush. And that's going to have my glasses next to the bed and the earbuds and my watch.
Oh, okay. My mum's talking about these. These are some recycled trays and plant pots that I make, but these can also be used for things like holding cotton tips, toothbrushes, or anything you really want to.
You gonna say why they're dirty?
And they're dirty because they were in my garden, holding things like little succulent leaves, trying to sprout more succulents off of them. And yeah, these are available on my website, thetoddy.com. Okay, so I was able to complete this hole without needing to put any water in it to soften the soil, because the soil was actually already nice and soft in this particular part, but I guess it just wasn't soft in the first area that I tried to dig. But I just wanted to show you, as you can see, that's the string, and it looks fairly center for where I dug the hole, so that is perfect. And now I'm just going to measure how deep this hole is. It should be 30 centimeters down. Yep, perfect. So the ground is quite solid in this spot too, so I'm going to pour some water into this hole and let it soak a bit. Okay, so while there's a couple of the holes soaking to make it easier to dig, I am going to get started on the fourth and final hole. So the fourth and final pole is going to be at the back of the carport. It is just going to be dead in the center, so then I can attach pieces of plastic roof sheeting, I think is what it's called, to the each end of the carport, and then attach it to the middle pole. So it was easy to dig through until it wasn't, because it looks like I have hit some sort of hard dirt now. All of this top stuff was nice and easy to get through, but this down here is rock solid, so I may have to use water unless I have already hit the 30 centimeters deep mark, which is 1 foot. Oh, I think I have. Okay, cool. I've hit the mark, so I don't have to dig any deeper and I don't have to pour any water into here, so amazing. So the water has now sunk into the ground, mostly, so I'm now going to try and dig that out, and hopefully it is a little easier to dig through. Okay, so all of the holes are now complete, and I think I'm going to start with this one, the one at the back of the carport, because I think that one will be the easiest to do, since the others are kind of like just freestanding, which will make it a little more difficult, whereas this one, it will connect to the top of the carport there. So that'll give it something to lean up against and make it a lot easier for me to cement it into the ground. So now it is time to make the concrete. I have the concrete powder here, and then I have some water here. And by mixing 2.5 liters of water with the 20 kilo bag of concrete, that should be the correct ratio to make some good concrete. Okay, so now I'm going to put this pole in the hole. Look straight to me. Okay, so now I'm going to pour this cement in. Okay, so now I am going to put this pole in, which is the corner pole, which is what the new door will be attached to. So I guess this one is kind of important, so I need to get it right. Let me get my trusty string involved. I don't know. I'm so confused. How am I supposed to do this? This doesn't look wonky at all, does it? It looks straight, doesn't it? Looks straight to me, so hopefully it actually is. I don't have one of those tools that have the bubble in it to tell me if it's straight or not, so I'm just hoping for the best. So now I'm onto the third pole. It's getting dark because throughout the day I've had to tend to multiple other things, like I own 80 guinea pigs and they have a lot of needs, so I've been doing lots of stuff to do with them. But now, before it gets too dark, I have decided to put the final pole in the ground. And this pole is the one that connects to the door, so it has to be perfect. Okay. Okay. I think we've done it. So I think I got that all right, and that is all I am going to do for today, and I'll be back tomorrow. So it's the next day, and I can kind of see now that the poles are kind of uneven, but I don't think it should affect it too much. I think the only thing that's going to be a little bit of an issue could be that the poles have actually turned out to be at different heights. I think that's because the ground is slightly on a slope. So while all of the poles may be down at 30 centimeters deep, because of the certain ground elevations, the one up that end is slightly higher than the one down this end, even though they're in the ground at the same depth. Oh, and you know how I was being so meticulous to get the space between this pole and this pole the correct length? Well, today it is like a totally different length. So it should be 80 centimeters, and when I was finishing it off yesterday evening, it came to like 82 centimeters, which was perfect. But today it's like 10 centimeters longer than what it should be. So the space between that pole and this pole is 90 centimeters. 80 centimeters finishes there. So there is this big gap here now that I'm going to have to put a piece of wood or something in this gap so that the guinea pigs can't get out and nothing can get in. So yeah, that's a little bit annoying, especially because I thought I had it so right. But anyways, let's go buy some wooden beams to connect everything up.